children, welcome to Easy Economics. Today I am explaining the characteristics of developing economies with special reference to India. And according to new syllabus I am explaining. Some topics differs from the old syllabus, the old textbook to new textbook. So from the new textbook I am explaining the characteristics of the developing economies. It is the question from the first unit, children. It is very important question for the final examination for 10 marks. So before studying about the characteristics of the developing economies, first we know the fact that is how the countries are, that is classified into developed and developing. On which basis? Either the countries are classified into either developed and as well as the developing countries. Generally, if a country's per capita income is less than the quarter of the per capita income of the USA, is considered as the developing economy. And also, children, based on the GNI per capita, the countries in the world are mainly grouped into, that is, low income economy and middle income economy. Again, middle income economy is subdivided into low middle income economy and upper middle income economy and high income economy. In this way, based on GNI per capita, the countries in the world are mainly classified into three types. But middle income economy is again subdivided into lower middle income and upper middle income. That is the reason they are made into four. So these classifications are fixed by the World Bank in the year of 2014. In its fiscal year in the year of 2014, World Bank in its report and opportunity managing risk for development. So in its report, it classified the world countries into four types. There are first one, low income economies. In US dollars, an economy which is having $1,035 or less than it is considered as a low income economy. And next one, middle income economies are classified into subdivided into low middle income and upper middle income economy. So here, low middle income economy, the per capita income in dollars, in US dollars, 1,036. This is the minimum and maximum up to $4,085. So whose country's per capita income in American dollars is from $1,036 to up to $4,085, that was considered as low middle income economy. And next one, upper middle income economy. The per capita income is from $4,086 to $12,605. So that is considered as the upper middle income economy. And high income economy. If the per capita income is more than $12,616, that was considered as a high income economy. So here, low income economy and low middle income and upper middle income. These three economies are called as the developing economies or developing countries. These are grouped as developing countries. Okay, children? The economies which are having low income, low middle income and upper middle income are called as developing countries. And the countries which are having high income are called the high income economies are called the developed economies. So, characteristics of developing economies with special reference to India. Whenever we are studying the characteristics of the developing economies, we must read the characteristics of developing economies with special reference to India. Why? Because India also one of the developing country, and also among all the developing countries in the world after China, India is the second emerging economy in the world. So particularly we are studying the features, that is characteristics of the developing economies with special reference to India. In the examination also they will ask the question like this. Okay, it is very important question for the 10 marks. Okay, first one, low per capita income. Generally, a country, developing countries are having the low per capita income. So when the per capita income is low, most of the people live below the poverty line. That is, a huge section of the population suffer with the absolute poverty. Poverty means not about the relative poverty, means absolute poverty. What is absolute poverty? People are not able to satisfy their basic needs, that is food, clothing and shelter. Okay, they are means not getting the food and not having shelter, not having clothing also, and this type of situation leads to, that is the existence of malnourished children and labor force without having the sound health and without having the skills, and heavy population growth, it also results. So like these children, if the low per capita income reflects the absolute poverty, which is a serious situation in the economy. So according to Kyron Cross, the developing economies are the slums in the world. Okay, so already we know the meaning of the slum. The people live without any basic facilities in the slums. The people won't have that is better drinking water, not having electricity, and not having the better education facilities, not having the better hygiene. So without having any facilities, so many are living in the slums in our India. So not only India, most of the developing countries in the world are just like the slums, according to Kyron Cross. So what about India's case? India, in our India, in the year of 1995 and 96, the per capita NNP is 9,300 rupees. So according to the recent estimations, in 2018, the GNI per capita of India is $7,680. Presently, according to the recent estimations, the India's per capita income is $7,680 in US dollars. Okay, children. At the same time, US per capita income is $63,690. At the same time, United States of America per capita income is $63,690. So the per capita income of USA is greater than the per capita income of India, that is nearly 8.5 times greater than the per capita income of India. So due to low per capita income, the standard of living of the population is very low, and in the production of goods and services, the progress is made in the economy, that is increase in the national income is not reflecting in that is national income is increasing, we are producing more goods and generating more services, but due to heavy population growth, the growth is not reflected in case of the per capita income. So the per capita income is very low in the developing economies due to heavy population growth. And due to heavy population growth, the additional pressure is put on the existing resources. The existing resources also not enough to meet the requirements of the public, and huge amount of the population are unable to satisfy their basic needs also. And according to Rangarajan Committee report, in the year of 2011 and 12, nearly 29.5% of the population are living below the poverty line. So low per capita income leads to absolute poverty, which is the dangerous situation which hinders the growth and development of the economy. And next one, predominance of agriculture. In any country, most of the labor force are depending upon the agriculture for their livelihood. They are called the agrarian economies, or it is said that predominance of agriculture. Agriculture is dominating the remaining two sectors by providing the employment to the existing labor force. Most of the developing economies are, that is agrarian economies. Okay, most of the labor force are depending upon the agriculture for their livelihood. And agriculture, we know the fact that it is unproductive. Productivity is very low, and the techniques used in the agriculture are outdated. So now some of the developing economies are concentrating on to export the raw material and the foodstuff. Foodstuff means edible oils, wheat flour, and instead of the food grains which are used, alternatively which are used are called the foodstuff. So they are concentrating on the exports of that is raw materials and the foodstuff. And some countries are concentrating on exports of extraction and exports of the minerals. So whatever it may be in the developing economies, the importance is given to the primary sector, and the secondary and tertiary sectors are seriously neglected. Okay? The development of service and industrial sector is not much more. And in case of India, what is the fact? In India also, according to the 2007 years report, means in the year of 2017, 42.7% of the labor force are depending upon agriculture for their livelihood. And the gross value added by the agriculture to the GDP is 16.5% according to 2019 report. So nearly half of the population are depending upon the agriculture for their livelihood, but the contribution by the agriculture to the GDP is very low. And also in our India, most of the nearly 45% of agricultural area is rain-fed, depending upon the rainfall for the cultivation, and the farmers are using the outdated techniques. So it results the low productivity due to small size of land holdings and usage of outdated techniques. And whenever agriculture is depending upon the monsoon, definitely it results the low productivity, which yield a low income. And again, because of low incomes, the people who are depending upon the agriculture are thrown into that is absolute poverty. And presently, in some areas, the big landlords are adopting modern techniques, and implementing the green revolution, and they are, by using the HYV seeds, they are trying to improve the productivity. Next, third one, capital deficiency. Definitely, most of the developing countries, due to low per capita income, the savings are low. Whenever savings are low, the investment also will be low, capital also will be low. So here, due to low level of capital, low level of investment, in the developing economies, industrial and service sectors are not well developed. Lack of investment, lack of capital formation, they are unable to develop the secondary and tertiary sectors. So mainly all the developing economies are called the low saving economy or low investment economy. In India also, due to want of capital, the existing renewable and non-renewable resources are not put in the better use. So efficient usage of the resources is not done due to lack of capital. Okay, resources are not properly utilized. And according to RBI report, in our India, the gross domestic savings are 30.1% according to recent report, and gross domestic investment is 32.3% in the GDP. Okay, children, in this way, due to lack of capital, the existing resources are not properly utilized, so it is not possible to provide the employment opportunities and to eradicate the poverty and to develop the nation, that is industrially, it is not possible because of the low level of capital formation. And next one, technological backwardness. Definitely children, most of the developing countries are using the outdated techniques. Technologically they are very backward. So what are the reasons for the technological backwardness in the developing economies? Mainly due to illiteracy. Most of the labor force are illiterate and they do not have the better skills. So these two are the obstacles to spread that is sophisticated technology in those economies. And because of these two reasons, developing economies are technologically backward, and technological backwardness resulting the economic backwardness. Again, economic backwardness resulting technological backwardness. So in this way, due to usage of old, that is outdated techniques, the production also will be very low, and the country failed to create more employment opportunities also. In case of India also, only in the large scale industries they are using that is modern machinery and sophisticated techniques, but in the medium and small scale industries in our India also, the outdated technology, outdated methods are used. So which is resulting the low output and the low employment opportunities, which hinders the development of the economy. The next one, inadequate infrastructure facilities. Infrastructure means to develop the economy or society, the facilities which are needed are called the infrastructure. They are pure drinking water, electricity, banking, and insurance, and good education facilities, better communication, better transportation. These are called the infrastructure facilities. The infrastructure is not available in the developing countries, and the available infrastructure also having the low quality. So again, the low quality infrastructure resulting the low output, and it results the low employment opportunities. So lack of infrastructure also hinders the development of the developing countries. Next one, demographic features. All the developing countries are having the common features. They are heavy population growth, that is mainly high birth rate or slowly declining birth rate, and faster declining death rate. Next, high infant mortality, low life expectancy, and heavy density of population. These are the main characteristics of that is demographic characteristics of the developing countries in the world. So the growth rate of the population in the developing countries is 2% per annum, and also in developing countries the percentage in the population, the percentage of children are very more, means more children are there. Nearly 40% of the child population is there in developing countries. Okay, that is in case of developed countries, the child population is below 15 years age group are called children. So they are not able to engage in the productive activity. Okay, so the child population, percentage of child population in the developed countries is only 20 to 25%. And also in the developed countries, the life expectancy is more than nearly 75 years. In case of developing countries, it is only 51 years. Now in our India, somewhat the life expectancy has been improved, that is to 69 years. In our India, the population is nearly now 130 crores, and the density of population also, according to 2011 census, the density in our India is 382 per square kilometer area. So children density of population means the average number of population living per square kilometer area is called the density of population. Okay, in India the density of population is more due to heavy growth rate of population. The density also will be more, and the birth rates are declining slowly, but the death rates are falling sharply, and infant mortality rate also high in our India. That is infant mortality rate means number of infant deaths per 1,000 live births in a year is called the infant mortality rate. So it is nearly 44 per 1,000 live births due to lack of better medical facilities, lack of nutritious food. So infant mortality rate is very high in our India, and also density of population is very high. So because of these reasons, the increasing population is putting pressure on the existing resources. It is not possible to the government to provide employment to the increasing labor force, and eradication of poverty is also not possible due to the heavy growth rate of the population. And children, from 1921 onwards, in our India, population is growing in a dangerous way. Okay, so that is the reason 1921 year is called the year of Great Divide. Then onwards, birth rates are increasing more and more, death rates are falling sharply. Okay, so whenever population is increasing in a dangerous way, it is called population explosion. Okay, in our India, the annual growth rate of population is 1.64% per annum. Okay, so in this way, due to heavy population growth, the growth or development is made in the economy, so is not helpful to improve the standard of living of the population. Why? Because government is starting so many schemes to eradicate unemployment and poverty also, but the schemes are only helpful to some people only, means to the all the existing population. So the government is not able to provide the benefits of its schemes. Why? Because comparing to the available resources and comparing to our capital, that is our savings, comparing to our growth, the population is growing more and more, which is putting the pressure on the economy. And next one, high rate of illiteracy. Yes, illiteracy also hinders the development of the economy. Most of the developing countries are having the high rate of illiteracy. Children, generally to develop the economy, mainly the availability of the natural resources, physical capital and human resources plays a vital role in the development of the economy. Okay, including the physical capital, so human resources are also needed to develop the economy. So when the human resources are illiterate and not having skills and they are unable to adopt the modern techniques, so it retards the development of the economy. So illiteracy hinders the development of the economy, and in our India, it is the main reason for that is underdevelopment of our society. So, but comparing to that is olden days, now the literacy rate is somewhat better in our India. According to 2011 census, the literacy rate in our India is 74%. In males it is 82 and in female it is 65%. Okay, comparing to male literacy, female literacy is very low. Why? Because in the rural areas, the people won't give priority to the girl child education. Okay, so that is the reason somewhat female literacy is very low in our India. So illiteracy retards the development of the economy. That is the reason the countries, developing countries, have to concentrate to develop the literacy rate in their countries. And next one, a dualistic economy. Dualism is common in the developing countries. So what is called the dualism? Means, children, in the developing nations, we can find that is one side the developed, that is market system. In the city areas, the industries are well established, and in the city areas, the large scale industries are using the modern techniques in the production. Those who are living in the city areas are getting all the amenities, enjoying the better standard of life, and they are enjoying, that is consuming varieties of consumer goods. And the second side of the economy, that is in the rural areas, it is unorganized, the sector is unorganized. That is the people who are depending upon the agriculture, so they are not enjoying the better standard of life. In the agriculture, mostly outdated techniques are used, incomes are very low, and in the agriculture only primary goods are produced. Okay, by selling the primary goods also they won't get the proper incomes. So in this way, this type of dualism is existing in the developing countries. So one side developed market economy and the other side underdeveloped agricultural society. Okay, so in this way, whenever there is a dualism, at that time dualistic, dualism is there in the economy. That is one side the organized industrial sector and the second side unorganized agricultural sector. So it hinders the development process. Okay, unorganized agricultural sector hampers the growth and development of the economy. The next one, underdeveloped natural resources. Most of the developing countries are either misutilizing or underutilizing their natural resources. Generally, in developing countries, capital is a scarce resource. So due to lack of capital, the available resources are not put in the better use by the developing countries due to lack of technology, and mostly that is low level of savings leads to the low level of investment, that is low level of capital formation. So lack of capital and lack of technology. So because of these reasons, the developing countries are not utilizing the available resources in a proper way. So in our India also, the existing India having more renewable and non-renewable resources, more natural resources. So the river water or forest wealth, all are not put in the better use, either misutilized or underutilized or not utilized. It is also, for example, in our India, labor force are more and more, but government failed to create the employment opportunities to the existing labor force. Means the available human capital is not utilized by the government. In this way, not only the human resources, most of the natural resources also not put in the better use by the Indian economy. And next one, lack of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are generally, when a society is providing the better opportunities to the youth or labor force, so we can find the innovative entrepreneurs. So in a country, if more entrepreneurs are there with the innovative skills, definitely it will be developed in a faster way. So in our India, due to the social institutions will hamper the entrepreneurial development, lack of capital, lack of skills, technical skills, lack of education and lack of infrastructure. So these are retarding the entrepreneurial development. So it is also one of the reason for the, that is backwardness of the economy. So the innovative entrepreneurs who leads the economy, so are absent in the developing nations comparing to the developed countries. And next one, unemployment and disguised unemployment. In developing nations, unemployment is a common feature. Generally, unemployment is, that is, chronical in nature, means long period, over a long period, without any job, they remain, labor force remain unemployed. And also, basically, unemployment is structural in nature. Structural means, due to lack of capital, industrial sector is not well developed, so it results in unemployment. Due to unemployment, people won't have the purchasing power in their hands, so it results the lack of effective demand for the goods. So lack of effective demand, goods also not produced much more. So due to lack of capital, in the developing nations we can find the structural unemployment. And also whenever we are studying the unemployment in the, that is urban areas, that is educated unemployment. So many youth labor force are educated and they are having skills, but they are not getting the employment. And in the rural areas, we can find the disguised unemployment. Means most of the population, labor force, those who are living in the rural areas are illiterate and they are depending upon agriculture for their employment. And in the agricultural sector, if more than required are depending. If 10 persons are needed to cultivate 2 acres of land, so 20 labor force are depending. So by the extra 10 labor force, there is no use. Okay, by employing the additional 10 labor force, the output doesn't increases. Whether 10 are working or 20 are working, the output will be the same. So the marginal productivity of that is the additional 10 laborers is 0 or negative. So this is called the disguised unemployment. In the agricultural sector, the labor force are depending more than required. Okay, by using that is additional labor force, there is no use in that is agricultural sector. By removing the additional labor force also, the output is not adversely affected. Okay, in this way, most of the means almost all the developing economies, unemployment is a common feature, and also in the rural areas we can find the disguised unemployment. Next, according to the recent surveys, in India the unemployment rate is 6.1%, and every year the government is trying to provide the employment opportunities to the existing labor force, and wherever government is trying to provide employment to the existing labor force, every year the huge amount of new labor force are added to the existing labor force. This is creating the problems. Due to heavy population growth, the growth of labor force also is more and more in India. So that is the reason government failed to create employment opportunities to the increasing labor force. Next one, social institutions. Mostly developing economies are having, that is in the society is divided into so many castes and subcastes, and including India, people are orthodox in nature. Okay, they don't accept the changes immediately, and people want to live together, means mostly joint family system is now taking its roots slowly. It is splitting. It's now the nuclear families are that is more and more in our India. So whatever it may be, either it is a joint family or a small family, people are interested to live together. That is, they are not willing to migrate to the distant places for the sake of better education or the employment opportunities. So this also retards the development of the economy. Okay, so and also because of the superstitions, and they are increasing the population growth. So most in the Hindu society, people want to have a son, and in this process they are giving birth to more number of the girl child also. So in this way, when a society is orthodox in nature, the people in the society are believing that is superstitions. So it is the biggest obstacle to the development of a country. And the last one, foreign trade orientation. Okay, foreign trade is common, means a country will export goods to the other countries in the world, and it will import the goods from the other countries of the world. So international trade is essential to all the countries in the world. Why? Because so the countries in the world are not getting self-sufficiency in the production of all types of goods. For some types of goods, they have to depend upon the other countries in the world. So generally, developing countries are exporting the primary goods, that is agricultural goods, and importing the capital goods and the consumer goods. And they are earning the foreign exchange by exporting the primary goods mostly. So once upon a time, India also the biggest exporter of the primary goods. 70% of our exports are, that is belongs to primary sector in the previous days. Now it will it will come down to, that is 13%. Yes, most of the developing nations are depending upon that is primary products. By exporting them, they are earning the foreign exchange. So too much dependence upon that is primary goods will ignore the development of that is remaining non-farm sectors, that is remaining two sectors, industrial sector and the service sector. And too much dependence upon that is export of the primary goods also, it is not the better thing. So developing economies also have to concentrate on the production of the consumer goods and the capital goods. So then only it is possible to earn the huge amount of the foreign exchange. And also whenever we are observing the balance of payment situation of that is developing economies, it is in negative, means exports are less and imports are more and more. Balance of payment situation is worst in most of the developing economies in the world. For example, India also, it is paying much more amount for that is crude oil. So most of the income from the India is flowing to the that is Arabian countries, Saudi countries. Why? Because we are importing the crude oil from those countries. Okay, most of our import bill consists of that is crude oil payments. So in this way, whenever the developing economies are mostly depending upon that is primary products, it hinders the development. And presently, if you are observing the changes in the developing nations, they are also concentrating on that is the production of that is consumer goods and also little bit capital goods. And in present economy, that is due to modern technology now, even the perishable goods also having the international market. So that is the reason the countries which are exporting the primary goods also having that is for their goods, they are having the international market. And what about India? India also exporting the primary goods, but comparing to the primary goods and the industrial goods, we are exporting more and more services. Okay, through exporting services, India is earning more amount of the foreign exchange. Of course, among all the developing economies in the world, so India is occupying the second place after China in the faster development. But the progress is made in terms of production is not reflecting in case of the per capita income due to heavy growth rate of the population. If India controls the population growth, definitely in a shorter period it will considered as a developed economy. Children, if you like this video, do like, subscribe and share it. Thank you for watching, and press on the bell icon. Whenever I uploaded a new video, immediately you will get the notification. Thank you for watching.